Tell us what happened last night.
Well, it all brought up when we was called from the warm-up rooms and warm-up areas, and they said, could I check your numbers, and I showed the one on my tracksuit, as I did the day before in the qualifying, and then I showed them the one on the back of my vest, and they said, where's the one on the front of the vest, and I said, I haven't got it. And they said, you must have one, and you cannot compete unless you've got one. Well, I immediately said, well, what about yesterday? And he said, it doesn't matter yesterday, it's now. And I said, I'll take the number off my tracksuit and put it on the vest, and he said, that's not good enough. And then the athletes was called out to the marching area where they go out to the track, and I was a little bit afraid that I was going to be left behind over a petty matter regarding a number. And I said, I'm going. They said, no, you're not. And they started kind of tugging me, and then they stood in front of the door, and I got a little bit heated, and I wanted to go and compete, and they started tugging me again, and I'm going, and I just pulled them apart like that, and I went straight down the steps.
Now, a push from Geoff Capes is rather more than a push from a normal human being, and I think somebody ended up...
Well, now, the management has supplied for me two very estimable, large, fierce-looking gentlemen to assist me in this demonstration, and here they are. Your name is, sir?
Geoff Capes.
Geoff Capes, you're the shot put man, aren't you?
That's correct, yeah.
What did you win in connection with that, I seem to recall?
Well, I'm British Commonwealth and European champion.
I see. We're very happy to have you here, aren't we? Thank you.
And they started.
Dave. Well, Dave, from what I recall, is a judo man, and they certainly chose the right man to send along to try to handle me. You won an Olympic medal, I believe.
Double Olympic medalist. 72, I won a silver.
Well, gents, I have here two pieces of rope, 50 feet in each one. Makes 100 feet altogether, if my mathematics is correct. I'm going to give one to each one of you, remove my jacket, and get down to work here. Because it's time for me now to sit down in this chair and ask you just to do a very simple thing. I want you to use that rope to tie me into this chair in a way that you think I should not be able to extricate myself from, and there are only two rules that go along with this. I want you to pay close attention to them. The first rule is this. You see this material here? Mm-hmm. This is called skin, S-K-N, skin. I try to keep as much of that on my body as I possibly can, and if you have 30 feet of rope left when tying a knot, don't zip 30 feet of it by me, because that little wisp of smoke is me. The second rule is that if you should place the rope around my neck, and I don't mind if you do, when you tighten it up, don't put it around and then tighten it like this. That's called hanging. I try to avoid that too. Gentlemen, do your best or your worst, whichever you prefer. And away we go. I think I'm in trouble already.
Oh, I'm not going to play.
Obviously not.
I want to come that way.
Okay, you come this way as well.
He has a hard head, I notice.
You only got me in there.
Get out of the way. Why is it that everyone else has a wonderful time during this? Remember rule number 2. As soon as I reach a dark blue, that's time to stop.
That's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I find myself in a position now where I'm unable to lead the applause for these two stalwart gentlemen who assisted us. Would you do that for me, please? Thank you, gentlemen, to believe I'm leaving to my own. That, with any luck, just about does it. Ladies and gentlemen, I will take credit only for the presentation, but not the invention of the next presentation we have for you. This actually was invented more than half a century ago by the late, great Harry Houdini. We all know his name, of course, because he took this country by storm, and indeed most countries of the world. He was very famous for this particular trick as well. It is a very simple piece of equipment. Looks a little strange at first glance, but it's a steel can which has been assembled using over 350 steel rivets. It is partially filled at the moment with water, and in a moment I'm going to immerse myself inside the can. My body will displace some of the water will be filled right to the very top, and the lid will be locked on. In order to be sure that that lid really is locked on tightly, we have asked that someone come along this evening who is an expert in the subject of locks, and I'm going to ask you to meet him now. Sir, would you join us out here? And your name, sir?
Peter Gunn. Nice to meet
This
you.
is Mr. Peter Gunn, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gunn, am I correct in saying that you have supplied these 6 padlocks, that they're your own personal property, and you assure us that each one has a separate key and there's only one key for each one, is that correct?
That is correct.
And where, may I ask, are the keys for these locks?
There they are, sir.
You have them there. Now, I want you to hold on to those and keep them in a ready, accessible place, just in case there should be some sort of an emergency. The locks are going to be fastened onto the can after the lid is put on by means of the 6 hasps. And I think Mr. Gunn will agree with me that any one of these padlocks certainly would keep the lid in place. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct.
Now, to assist you, we have the 2 sports figures that you met earlier in the program. Dave and Geoff, are you out there? Come on up and join us, if you would, please. I see you came armed. These gentlemen, along with my 2 assistants, have been informed what to do just in case there is an emergency, and I, as I say, don't anticipate one. The crowbars that you see they have here can be inserted underneath the hasp, and the hasp can be broken with some effort from the side of the can in order to release the lid, if we should need to. I'm going to ask these gentlemen to stand in such a position around the stage after the canopy has come in that they can assure you, as representatives of the audience, that no one can possibly enter into this area to save me or to release me from the can unless we make it very obvious to the audience. I'm going to climb into the can now, and as I said, my body will displace some of the water that's inside, and in a moment it will begin to come over the top of the can. Gentlemen, I'd ask you to guard your suits carefully, so don't stand quite too close. It will splash quite a bit when I get down inside. And I will ask you people at home to do something, if you will, please. At the moment that you see my face go beneath the water, I want you at home, and you here in the audience as well, in the studio, to take a deep breath, as I have done, and hold that breath as long as you can. And I want you to think to yourself that at the moment that you must let that breath out, you would commence, possibly, a drowning death. In a moment, my head will go beneath the water. Gentlemen, these are your instructions. After I have taken the 3rd large, deep breath, I want you to place the lid on as quickly as you possibly can and lock all of the locks, then stand clear so that the curtain can be lowered. Do you understand? All right. 3 breaths. On the 3rd one, I will hold it and wait for my head to go beneath the water. And you two at home and in the studio, take that same breath.
Bring it down.
40 seconds. 45. 50 seconds. 55. 1 minute. 1 minute 5 seconds. 1 minute 10 seconds. 1 minute 15 seconds.
Done? Why, my mind is the key that sets me free.